It's Wyndham. Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about something that I get challenged on regularly. It's something that I say a lot. Say it to every client I ever work with. I put it out there to anybody who is listening. And it is this. I believe you are 100% capable of creating the life you really want to live. And I get challenged on it for the simple reason that they don't understand what I mean, and they aren't listening to what I'm saying. Essentially, that is an adapted version of you can be anything and do anything you want to do. I think we've all heard that. I remember for years I'd hear that and I would roll my eyes in derision. Because I'd essentially create straw man arguments against it. Excuse me. Somebody would say you can do anything you want to do, you can be anything you want to be, and I would immediately go, oh, so I could be a brain surgeon, could I? I could be the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Neither of those things are going to happen. And because I thought I was easily disproving what they were saying, I just dismissed it. It's a stupid saying. It's for fantasists and people who sit there thinking that you can create stuff just by thinking about it. So I dismissed it for years. And then I started thinking about it a bit more deeply. And I think a word is missing. And if you think about what I say, you can create the life you really want to live. The important word in there is really. The life you really want to live. And 100% of people are capable of creating the life they really want to live. And it's possible because what we think we want is not what we really want. What we have been conditioned and trained and taught to chase are not the things we really want. At a fundamental level as human beings, we don't want to be rich financially. We don't want to be CEOs. We don't want to be entrepreneurs. What we want, what we really want, is much simpler and far harder to achieve. I believe every human being simply wants to be seen for who they really are. They want to be heard for what they really think, believe, feel. They want to be accepted for who they really are. And they want to be loved for who they really are. When we can get connected to that idea that what we really want is far simpler than being a millionaire. It's much harder to create, but it's far simpler. And I believe everybody is after the same thing. So what we really want is to be seen for who we are, to be heard for who and what we are, to be accepted for who we are, and to be loved for who we are. But we get bombarded from such an early age with, oh, but look at this shiny thing. Ooh, this will make you happy. Look at all this. Imagine if you had all this money, you could go off on a mega yacht holiday, or you could have a private jet, or you could walk around in these insanely expensive clothes. That'll all make you happy. But even if we haven't had those things, we hear enough stories from people who have had those things or do have those things that say, this is not the route to happiness. I had it. How many times do we hear of sports people or entrepreneurs or business owners who say, at the very moment I achieved everything I had been chasing my whole life, at that very moment when I thought I would feel the most fulfilled, feel the happiest I could feel, I never felt more empty. We hear it all of the time. And it's because the things we are chasing are not the things we really want. Whenever we look at our lives, I talk about mechanism versus meaning. For the vast majority of us, the vast majority of the time, we are chasing mechanisms. Things like money. I'm not going to deny we live in a world where money is an incredibly important mechanism. However, the acquisition of more and more money is not the route to what we really want. Because we will find that if when we look deep inside, actually I just want to be seen for who I am, I want to be heard, I want to be accepted, and I want to be loved. Money doesn't create that. We create that. And the only way we can create that is by getting reconnected with who we are. We have a vast emotional disconnect. From the very earliest ages of our lives, our upbringing separates us from who we are. We're all these innocent, empty vessels when we're born. We're curious and we're disrespectful and we're independent and we're vulnerable. And systematically that is taught, conditioned out of us. How long before a parent finds themselves so frustrated that they shut their child's curiosity down? How long before we as children end up in environments where we are told exactly the way to do things? There is no room, no space for individualism. There is no space for us to deeply connect and learn about our emotions. We have a really basic dual system that says some emotions good, some emotions bad. Repress bad, embrace good. We never learn to feel our emotions. And our emotions are simply pieces of information. And if we are ignoring the information we are being given by our body and by our heart and our deepest wisdom, what are we left with? We are left with conditioned thinking. We are left with this emotionless, objective-driven, acquisition-driven outlook on life. It's about status, it's about wealth, it's about the image we are projecting. Really, deep down, we want to be seen for who we are. We want to be heard for what we have to say. We want to be accepted for that. And we want to be loved. And we search outside of ourselves for these things. But the answers aren't outside of us. People cannot see us until we stand up, until we are brave and courageous enough to stand up as who we are all of the time. People cannot hear us if we are not speaking. People cannot accept us if we are masking who we are. And people cannot love us if they never experience us. The even bigger tragedy is that most people don't know who they are. Most people have not sat down and told themselves their story, let alone anybody else. Most of us are so catastrophically disconnected from who we really are in this misguided, misinformed, conditioned approach to creating being seen, being heard, being accepted, being loved. We change ourselves into what we have been told is going to create those things for us. But who is creating that message? Who is benefiting from us changing who we are? Because it isn't us. Not on a complete human perspective. We aren't taught to be complete human beings. We are funneled and guided and moved from one thing to another, this pathway carved through what makes a complete human being. And these other parts are abandoned, suppressed, forgotten. And if you think of it like a physical workout, like muscles, what we exercise grows stronger. What we ignore eventually atrophies. And the work it takes to re-engage with those parts of us that we have unintentionally allowed to atrophy is similar to the work it takes to repair parts of our bodies when we've been injured or ignored them for too long. It's an enormous amount of effort early because we are not used to doing it. We're not used to sharing who we are, even if we know who that is. Sadly, most of us don't. So I leave you with that. What is it that you really want? When you strip away all of the stories, all of the conditioning, all of other people marketing stuff at you, when you strip away anything that has been made by human beings, what are you left with? What do you really want to create in your life and for your life? Because once you have connected with that, then we can move above. That's the meaning. That's what I'm really looking for. Okay, then we move out. We go, well, how am I going to create that? Then we move into mechanisms. Then we move into what can I actually do to create that deeper meaning at the heart of me. And once we are connected with the meaning, once we're connected with what it is we really want, then the million options that presented itself before we did that connection work narrow down massively. We can be more discerning. We can be more intentional. We can be more certain in an entirely uncertain world that what we are doing is more than likely going to move us towards what we really want. I leave you with that. I wish you a joyful and peaceful few days, and I will speak to you soon.